Yeah. How y'all doing? Yeah. It's the lyrically acclaimed. Y'all know the name. Yeah.
Alright, I'm Dylan, part of the experience. I'm here with Howard the Kid, back in Dreamlab Studios for another interview, and we're gonna get to know the artist. We're gonna get to know his music because you haven't heard much about him yet, but you're gonna find out how dope he really is. So Howard, tell me a little bit about yourself first, and let the world know who you are.
I'm black, if you haven't seen that by now. 22 years old. I live in Accokeek, Maryland, in the Boonies, PG County, Southside, Maryland. And I'm an artist. I do producing, I play keys, I play drums, I play bass. I'm a PK. For those that don't know what PK is, I'm a preacher's kid. So I grew up in the church, hand clapping, feet stomping, Holy Ghost, all that great stuff. I have 2 tattoos. I have arm sleeve, one on my arm. I have a culinary degree. I currently cook as a main source of income right now before music pops off, and I love baking. I think that pretty much sums up me.
Alright, so how old were you when you found out your love for music, and when did that really become your own thing that you jumped onto? Like, when did you start performing? When did it click for you?
I don't think, and I hate to sound cliche or ironic, but I don't really think I had a choice. Like, I think I was listening to music in the womb. My last name is Jones, so I come from a musical family. So like I said, I was literally birthed into music. It wasn't, a thing you pick up. It was just kind of like natural. I started playing set around the age of 3. That's when my parents found out I had an interest for the drums, and that's why I took off. I did basic band, so I played trumpet and set, and I started playing for the church. And so my parents brought me a drum set at probably like 9 or 10. Didn't get to play till like I was 16 because I was bad as shit as a kid, like legit. Like stayed on punishment. Like I'm talking about a brand spanking new drum set, sat in the box for like 6 years. Like cruel. But actually I took off more on the keys, and I started playing keys around 14. I have a very, very, very close relationship with my late grandfather. He played keys and guitar, so he played by ear, and that's how I'm trained. So picking up keys also has kind of like a sentimental value, and the piece on my arm is actually dedicated to him. So a lot of times, when you hear, I guess, emotional things, I guess in piano pieces, it stems from, those family, rankings.
Alright. So, we've got to know a little bit about you, and we've got to know a little bit about where you started from music. So, where's the next thing that's taking you, like, producing, beats, what's your number one song you're looking forward to coming out and seeing how it performs?
Number one song on a project that I really want people to, if I had to be honest, like probably track 2. And like me and Tyler have actually yet to like really step on that. He actually heard a little bit of it. The beat is ridiculous, first off, and I'm not sizing it to size it, but like I'm not the shit when it comes to producing, but I think out of everybody in Dreamlabs, like my production is A1. You feel me? But on jokes aside, that because honestly, track 2 explains like my life in its entirety. The whole album does, but I feel as though track 2 is where I really get to talk my shit. I believe the title is still in the works as far as what track 2 is going to be called, but it's definitely be the second track on the project that people should listen out for.
Alright. So, with your music, what do you want to do? What do you want the world to feel? You talked about it a little bit earlier. Tell them everything you told me.
Honestly, what I want to do with music, and really, I just want to make music. And I just want to bring the real essence back into it. Like, I just want to have fun, As much as, I want to work and I want to be, this glorified person that, makes a statement in music. As I've said many times to my peers before, as long as I may touch or affect, positively and impact somebody positively, one person, I feel as though I've already done enough. To me, like, it's not necessarily all about, the platform and the plateau, Oftentimes, like I said, I'm a class clown when it comes to the studio, but I try to remind everybody that when you're dealing with music, you're dealing with someone's life. Like, we really don't understand how much music affects us on a day-to-day basis. Like I'm talking about when you brush your teeth, you have a song playing. When you're happy, you have a song that you choose when you're happy. When you're sad, you have a playlist just dedicated to being in your feelings. Like music really, really, really touches our everyday life. So with that being said, I just want to make something that can impact somebody in a good way. You feel me? Like, not knocking trap or anything like that. Because, I'll crank my little Uzi every now and then too. However, I feel as though we're missing quality. And as far as music, I want just people to feel it. Like, music, as I mentioned to you earlier, it's like a sixth emotion, You feel what you hear. Like, you are moved. It's like, when you think about even history, like the first war, they came in with trumpets and drums. Like, music is really, really, really powerful. And so I just, for lack of better words, just like I said, just to have fun. And I just want people to feel, just to feel me. Like, you don't have to understand me, but just feel, what I feel. And just express that in the best way I can.
All right, I respect that a lot. And so we were talking earlier, and we have another artist who has a little video on our account named Jay. Howard was telling me about his relationship.
Let me stop you right there. So, first off, Jay, you're a bitch. And I hope you see this. And when you do, you'll understand why I said this. But all jokes aside, Jay is like my little brother. When I first met Jay, he hated me, flat out. So, we were both working at Applebee's. He was pushing 2 for $20s. I was a cook. He worked car side. And for lack of better words, I made his life hard. Not purposely so, but if anybody ever worked in a restaurant, front of the house relations and back of the house relations, it's like yin and yang. If you work front of the house, you hate back of the house. And if you hate back of the house, you hate front of the house.
100%.
So, long story short, he worked front of the house, so you knew how that went. But one night we were in the car. We was going to one of my friends named Gavin's house. And so, at that time I just started Applebee's and, people were just getting to know me. So a couple of people knew I made beats. They heard some of my beats and they're like, yo, this dude crank. And so they're like, yo, this man Jay got bars. Now, not gonna lie, when you see Jay, you don't expect it. And so my first impression of hearing that Jay has bars, I didn't necessarily knock it or mock it, but I'm like, well, I've been there, I've heard that. Like, I've produced for enough people to where I'm like, okay, let's see what the kid got. I play one of my beats. I lie to you not. This man raps for 15 minutes straight fire. Like, I'm talking about, he's just going cough like bananas berserk. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm like, who is this kid? I'm just like, I'm like, literally, I'm just like jaw dropped. Like, he's like at least 16, 17, like at the time. And I'm just like, for him to be at that caliber, was just freestyling and how he just stencils things in his mind at that rapid rate. Because like some of those beats were coming fast. It's just like, dog, that's crazy. So I tested him. I was like, all right, cool. He can rap. He has talent. So I'm like, okay, you want to fuck with me? He was like, when you're available? I'm like, all right, set a date. And literally the next day he was there. Like he came. He was so pressed to work with me because he was just so adamant about his craft. He came the next day after homecoming. I'm talking about still suited up, brought his homecoming date and everything just to get a couple of beats from me. And from there, like our relationship that's my little brother, like I called him a bitch, he called me a bitch, but all in love, like I check on him, I called him. We done been in some crazy situations. Like I almost got locked up with Jay. Like that was a funny scenario. Like, and I'll let him tell half of the stories we done been. Jay is, for lack of better words, Jay. I think that's the best way to describe him. But
all right. So music-wise, for you and Jay, do you have any collaborations coming up? Any songs maybe in the works or future developments maybe coming? Because me personally, I would love to see that.
I'm not gonna talk too much on it, and I mean I hate to sound like I hate to sound cliche. I'm not gonna talk too much on it. Y'all can expect to see him on the project. Okay. I mean,
that's all I need to hear.
As far as any other collabs, we keep that under wraps right now.
See it when it comes out.
Yeah.
I got that. All right. So with this next album, tell them what it's about, what it means for you. You told me how there's a little bit on there where it's a little bit in your feelings. So explain that a little bit. You don't get too much into it because we want to keep it a little low key. But just tell them a little bit. Give them a little bit of what's to come.
Well, I mean, I can just express it in one word, 1995. I mean, that's the title of the project. So it'll be taking place in the 90s. So it has a lot of 90s percussion, 90s feeling, and I feel as though 90s captured emotion the best. And I'm a 90s baby, so what better way to, incorporate everything than to have a project called 1995. 12 tracks so far. And like I said, it's my first project, to me, it's my baby, I've been working on it for 4 years. It's the most honest thing. I have no other music besides this right now that anybody's heard, like nothing released at all. So to me, 1995 in itself and the caliber, it's great. As I've shared with them, they oversight it. They hear it. They've been in the process, just like, yo, you're next up, and I'm just like, nah. But even like I said, as long as one person listens to it, and they, I guess, have a different or more positive perspective on life to how to move forward to the next step in their life, I'm happy. That's what I really want my album to do. It's my autobiography of how I dealt with being a quirky, lame ass nigga. Like legit, for lack of better words.
All right. So you said you might not be up next. I gotta tell the camera the truth. I heard a little bit of a fire earlier, and what I'm telling you, when he drops it, his name is gonna blow the fuck up. Straight like that. Don't let him bullshit you. So now I want you to tell the audience, what's the date you're looking to drop this piece?
So the date is July 15th, and the reason why I choose July 15th, I'm family oriented first and foremost. My birthday is July 19th. My grandmother's birthday is July 15th. She recently passed a year ago. It's actually going on 2 years next year. So July 15th, 15 was actually a wonderful number, that I had. I had a lot of, teenage experience at 15. So 15 itself is a significant number. So July 15th is almost also a dedication to her too. Like when I dropped the project, that's, really what I'm looking at. So, I mean, that's about to say it has a lot of meaning. Like everything is strategically planned, so.
All right, last thing I gotta say is I got mad respect for what you're doing right now.
Appreciate it, man.
And then it's been a pleasure you sitting down with us and to get an interview done with the Experience.
Legit.
And then just so the Experience fans know that we have a little something going on with DreamLab Studios and Tyler. So we're gonna be seeing a lot more of this dude on our feed, on our YouTube. So when he blows up, you're gonna hear about it.
Man, it was a pleasure. First interview ever. I'm gonna be honest, like I'm very, very a homebody. I don't get out much anymore. I don't party, so to be amongst cool, chill people. I smelled marijuana on the way in there, so I was just like, it was lit. I was like, for the interview, I was like, I was already like, I fuck with them. You feel me? Like I was already set. But for lack of better words, like it's been great, man. Like thank y'all for having me. Truly, it's humbling. Truly.
Awesome. Thank you very much, my man.
Not a problem.
A girl, cause everybody knows that pussy is power. We all hate Mother Nature, but we all love a flower. There's a price to be paid if you go and eat an apple. The piece for you, for a piece of fruit, another in the battle. I'm taking